Welcome everyone to tonight's webinar with the women of Cosworth that you can hopefully see on your screen now. This is part of the Girls on Track UK initiative managed by Motorsport UK. I'm your host for the evening. My name is Izzy. I'm a motorsport presenter and I am delighted to be joined by an amazing panel tonight who are ready and waiting to answer all of your questions and tell you all about themselves and their roles. So just before we get to our panelists, a couple of bits of housekeeping. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available after the event on the Girls on Track UK community Facebook page and on the Motorsport UK YouTube channel. All past webinars can also be found on the Motorsport UK YouTube channel, so you can go and watch them back if you wish to do so. Apart from our panelists, all participants are restricted from speaking tonight, but you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen to ask questions during the session. If you think of anything whilst we're chatting, just pop it in there. We will try and answer as many questions as possible in the time we have, but we also have a long list of amazing questions that have been sent in beforehand, so we'll start with those. So now it's time to meet our panelists. Tonight, joining us from Cosworth, we have Minnie, who's a marketing manager, Pauline, a senior project manager, Veronica, a controls and simulation engineer, and Hanaa, a design engineer. So ladies, welcome. All really varied jobs and so great to have you all with us, especially on such a sunny evening. Thank you so much. I guess the best place to start would be if each of you could tell us a little bit about your role and what you do. So Minnie, we will start with you if that's okay.
Yeah, so I'm the group marketing manager. I look after my team. If you do know a little bit about Cosworth, we're based across 3 different sites. So within my team, they're all a little bit spread out. So I tend to spend my time based across all 3 sites. I overlook all the campaigns and work quite closely with our digital agency and PR agency as well.
Perfect. Next, we will go to Veronica.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you for having us. I'm a controls and simulation engineer. I'm based in Silverstone and actually work really close with battery packs for performance electric vehicles. So I do mostly controlling of the entire battery packs and simulation of individual cells and entire packs.
Awesome. Pauline, how about you?
Hi, so I'm senior project manager. So I'm in the program management team. So we manage all the projects across the Silverstone site for Delta. We have really varied projects. So we make battery packs, as Veronica said, but we also make whole vehicle programs. So we design the vehicles from scratch and then we deliver them to customers. We've got range extender projects. We're working in lots of sectors, so the projects are really varied, and we work around that across the team.
Awesome. And last but definitely not least, Hanaa, what about you?
Hi guys, thanks for having me. So I'm a design engineer at Cosworth at the Northampton site. So I design and update engine parts. So previously I've done design parts for the Aston Martin Valkyrie, which is one of our V12 engines currently in production, and currently I'm working on development of an engine for an unmanned air vehicle. So it's a twin-cylinder 2-stroke engine, so it's much smaller than the engines that I've worked on previously.
Cool. It's awesome to have so many different roles, and we can definitely get more into what the differences are between all of your roles. So ladies, I'm going to dive straight into the questions that we've been sent in. So one of the most important questions that people want to know is, how did you get into your role in the first place? Sort of what was your path into the role that you're in now? So Minnie, I'm going to come back to you to start with.
I think for me, my interest came mainly from my husband. He was constantly tinkering with cars, always doing something. And then one evening, and I was like, and he asked me to help him. And then it was just, I think from then I was like, what are you doing? What does that do? And it kind of just went from then. And that's how I kind of got to know how things worked and like proper hands-on experience. So like since then, he's taught me how to service my own car, change brake discs, brake pads, and all those things that a mechanic would do. And I think that's where it all basically came from. And then, because he used to work at for Formula One company, and then we started watching it, going to races, and it all just came from that basically.
Awesome. And Veronica, how about you?
Yeah, well, I've always loved motorsport since I was little. I started getting into racing when I was like 13. I used to race karting and formulas, so it really is a passion. And that's what really motivated me to study. I did mechatronics engineering at first, and I came to the UK. I'm originally from Costa Rica. I came to the UK to study motorsport engineering, and that's how I got into this whole world, and all based on a passion.
Awesome. And Pauline?
So my dad loves classic cars, so I've been around old cars since I was a child, so kind of became passionate about that. And being good at math and science, what can you do? Engineering is actually quite a good path for that, with lots of jobs available, lots of options on what to do. So I started studying that. I'm from Belgium, so studying in Belgium first, got to the UK. And then actually, I'm not really a motorsport person. I've always been in the automotive, but never in motorsport, because I started working for the London taxi company. So I worked on the new hybrid taxi, and now I'm more passionate about the new green technologies.
Okay.
So I worked on the whole development of that. So I started as an engineer initially, worked there for a few years, and then I joined Cosworth to work on the catalytic generator. So it's a low emission generator for cars, boats, and lots of different sectors. So I was working with customers and different applications to put it in there. So always, again, focused on low emission technologies. And then I wanted to expand my knowledge and, learn more about batteries and what else we do at Delta. And then, so that's why I moved to project management. My path is, and background is really engineering, but then moved into that because I'm so curious. I love everything. And actually project management, you're involved in every part of the business with all the teams. So it's really interesting. And I still get to learn a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool as well that you've kind of come from a bit of a different background and come through into Cosworth, and I'm sure you have seen and managed many different things over the years. Hanaa, finally coming to you.
Well, I've just grown up, just always been really, interested in the world of engineering and just been really curious about it. And then I think it was just one day I was choosing my GCSE options, and my school offered engineering as a subject. And I thought, just give it a go because it's something I'm interested in. So I did, and I ended up being the only female out the whole year doing engineering. But I got used to it. It was a bit out of my comfort zone, but it's just that passion for studying engineering that just kept me going. And and after that I decided to study aeronautical engineering at university and just absolutely loved it.
So you've come quite nicely onto something there that I wanted to talk about, which is kind of your different educational pathways into your roles, because obviously, Veronica, you said you're originally from Costa Rica. Pauline, you said you're from Belgium. So you two, I imagine, didn't study in the UK. So yeah, sort of what were your educational pathways? What A-levels did you take? Hanaa, we'll start with you because you've already sort of given us a bit of an idea.
Yeah, so I took A-levels. I did maths, physics, and engineering, and then went off to university and studied aeronautical engineering, which is the study of aircrafts. And my department, the aeronautical engineering department, was part of the automotive department as well. So I really saw the similarities between the two courses, and that's when I really got into sort of automotive engineering, and I just wanted to start my career off in automotive engineering.
Awesome. And Veronica, how about you? How was your path kind of different, obviously coming from Costa Rica to the UK?
Yeah, well, back home, we don't have those like A-levels. You get to choose specifically what you wanna like specialize in some sort of way before going into university. But you get to choose like your science. If you want to do more like biology, you want to do more like physics. So I was very keen into mathematics and engineering. I was pretty much set. I want to study engineering of some sorts. I want to relate it to motorsports, to racing. That's why I chose mechatronics engineer. And then I just realized that motorsport engineering existed, not in Costa Rica, but especially in the UK, you know, the Motorsport Valley, where it's everything related to motorsport is pretty much located here. And I was really excited to come and continue studying, continue learning everything about engineering, motorsport, and hopefully finding something that I could do as a job that I'm really interested. I can continue expanding my knowledge and just enjoy it, and which is what I found right now.
Yeah, nice that you were able to find something you were so passionate about and follow that. Pauline, what about you?
Quite similar to Veronica. So we don't have GCSEs and A levels in Belgium, but you choose options. You still have all your classes. So I still had like French and languages and history and geography, but you can choose more or less of what you want. So like science and math, that's what I chose. And then you have more background than other students, and that's gives you the base you need to study engineering. And then I studied engineering in Belgium. So the first 3 years of bachelor are quite generic, but still you can specialize again a little bit, but not entirely, into mechanical and electrical engineering, and then did a master's in mechanical engineering, and then got to the UK to do a master in automotive mechatronics. So I had the opportunity to again focus on automotive, but then linking the, like Veronica said, linking the mechanical and the electrical side is actually really interesting. And at the time was quite a new technology, because usually everything was always split. So yeah, I guess the common link between us is a math, science, and engineering background.
Yeah, definitely. So coming to Mini, I expect maybe slightly different path for you.
I was a little bit different. I did do an engineering degree, so I think for my A levels I did double business, IT and psychology. And then I always knew that I liked marketing, the creative side of things, social media. So I then went in to graduate for digital marketing degree in Manchester. Graduated, and then I actually went opposite direction and started working in the public sector for about 3 years. And then after that, I eventually found my path back to marketing, and just did various roles here and there in marketing roles, as a marketing assistant for commercial catering company, a lighting company. So all those roles were quite technical as well. And then I joined Cosworth about 2 years ago. And I think for me, I think marketing is a transferable skill into any industry. So I was quite lucky that I've got a varied background of industries where I've gone into and done marketing. But yeah.
It's nice to see that each of you have such different paths, because I know that's something that a lot of people want to know, is kind of, is there an ideal path? But I guess from what all of you have said, you can kind of see that there's many different ways into it. So Pauline, something I wanted to ask you about is sort of a bit more how you got into project management, coming from that engineering side.
I think it comes from that I just like too many things. So I don't want to specialize in a specific area. So usually for engineer, you're a design engineer, a test engineer, a controls engineer, and it's in a specific, let's say, department. But I always like to learn about a little bit of everything. So in my previous role, I was doing, mechanical, control software, some testing, installation with the customer. So they had a lot going on in there. I was doing some marketing and business development as well. So I've been involved with Mini quite a lot. And because I don't want to specialize in a certain area, And I know I want to get into the management side, and that's where I want to get to. Project management is actually quite a nice transfer of my skills because I've got a good engineering background. So managing project, I understand really what's going on, and I can have technical discussions with the teams. So it's actually useful for them, but also for me. And then, yeah, you know, being involved with finances, managing people. So project management allowed me to have that all in one role, but still being involved in engineering. I still want to stay technical. I don't want to just become a project manager. And that transition allowed me to do that. So still learning and still being involved, but kind of on my way to more management role later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can see so many different sides of it as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then, Hanaa, something that maybe you could touch on is some people are interested in knowing whether a degree or a degree apprenticeship is something that would be useful for someone wanting to go into engineering. Obviously, you kind of went through the UK system. So what would your opinion be if you have one on degrees or degree apprenticeships?
Yeah, so a degree apprenticeship is when you do your degree part-time and then you're also working at the same time. I personally would say it would be better to do a degree, because I think you should just focus on your studies, because I think if you're working at the same time, it can become a bit much and a bit stressful. Also, it prolongs your education as well. But what I would recommend is to do it while you're in education, to do some work experience, whether that's, you know, a summer internship or even a placement year, just so that you can get that work experience and, you know, put your degree into context and, you know, really, you know, be able to apply what you're learning to the real world.
So in terms of your work experience, I guess for all of you, kind of, were there things that you did along the way, maybe what sorts of work experience you got that you could talk to us about?
I think for me, to be honest, that was something that I lacked. I really lacked engineering experience. And I think when I came out of university, that was something that, it was quite difficult for me to get a job straight after university, because I didn't have that experience. I didn't have that thing that stood out on my CV to, because companies are always looking for, have you got any work experience in engineering? It just makes it easier for them to recruit you. So for me, yeah, that was something that I lacked, and I think that's something really important to do while you're still in education.
Mm-hmm. Veronica, what about you? Did you have any work experience or any things that you did alongside?
No, I did mostly, well, motorsport related activities. I drove as I was a racing driver, but other than that, mostly in engineering, I didn't have those back home in Costa Rica. We don't have apprenticeships. We have some internships, but again, motorsport is not so big over there. So I relied mostly in my education, other activities that I did, like research, being part of laboratories, other academic activities that could improve my CV. So that would be something I could recommend. Very keen in research and academic. That would help with getting yourself out there and standing out amongst other applicants.
Mm-hmm. Minnie, what about you? Did you do any sort of, obviously not maybe the engineering side, but did you do any sort of work experience or things like that?
When I came out of uni, no, and it's like Hanaa said, I really struggled to get a job, because obviously I didn't have the experience, which is why I ended up in the public sector, because at that point I just wanted a job. I think going into the industry, I did various things, like I'd try and volunteer myself for certain events. So for example, we had the Girls on Track last week, so I know Jenny looks for volunteers for that, and I just tried to just keep on top of like social media when it came to like the Formula One races and touring car, and just making sure that I had that competitive advantage, that I knew what was going on, if there were any latest news in the industry, something to do with drivers, race teams. And then I took any networking opportunities that I could within the industry, and any like online communities as well, because I know there's quite a few on LinkedIn. But I just kind of floated my way around different things, and then tried to go to some networking events and conferences.
Awesome. Pauline, how about you? Did you do anything or similar to the other ladies?
In the degree, it wasn't mandatory, but I found a summer job as an engineer in a glass fiber company in Belgium. So I spent a month there, and I had a project I could lead on my own, and I could improve some processes in the plant. So that was interesting, but again, I had to find it myself. Mm-hmm. And then when I did my degree in the UK for my thesis, I wanted to do it in industry, which actually isn't really common here, whereas in Belgium it is. So I contacted several companies saying, well, do you have a research topic that you would like me to look into for 3-4 months? I'm going to be unpaid. I can come to your facilities, and then you'll have the report at the end and the results of my research, providing, you know, I can publish it for the university. So I spent a few months at Millbrook Proving Ground working on emission measurements. So again, low emission technologies back in. And that was really interesting. Unfortunately, I didn't get a job there, so I was really disappointed. But I think that's helpful, just to kind of put yourself out there, trying to find opportunities where you can. It's not possible for everyone. So as Minnie said, networking is extremely important. So even if you can go to a conference, go and chat to companies, because you can just meet people working at companies, get their business cards, and then when you're applying for a job, then you can contact them again. And if you made a good impression, then that's how you have, you know, lifelong contacts. Online communities are also quite important, and you can meet people there. So yeah, a kind of putting yourself out there, even though it might be difficult sometimes.
So from your experience, would you recommend that people look for things outside of motorsport and automotive as well?
I think so, yeah. Because I think something that people don't realize, when you just come out of uni and you're looking for a job, you're like, oh, I want to have an amazing CV, I want to have amazing grades. And actually, that's not really what matters, because when we're hiring people, we want to make sure that they would fit well in the company, that they would work well with other people, that you could get up to speed quickly, that you can learn, get along with all the team. And so it's almost more about the interpersonal skills as well. So even doing volunteering for your community actually is quite a good point on the CV. Being part of a sports club, showing all these unrelated activities are still important, to show that you're not just a person studying, you're a person outside of work as well, which is quite important. And for us in the team, we hired people recently, and it's, if you have 2 people with the same skills, then you would want to hire the one that's going to fit well within the team. So having the right mindset that's going to match the people already there, then that's what is going to get you there. So obviously there's no recipe for that. It's just like being yourself and showing how excited you are about the job. And I think that's some advice I'd like to have had when I was at uni. It's not all about the grades.
Yeah, that's really interesting and like nice insight to have as well. So if you were to all look at your roles, what does your sort of day-to-day in your role look like? Obviously, we know that Cosworth is really diverse. We've heard a lot about like the batteries, and then obviously what Mini does. We've heard marketing. So what does a typical day-to-day look like for you? Let's start with Mini.
I mean, for me, no 2 days are the same. I think if you, Pauline, especially you, we speak quite a bit. Literally no 2 days are the same. We're working on so many projects. You're involved in that many projects that you're not just pigeonholed into one. There's various projects going on. There's obviously all the races that are going on. So normally, typically day to day, I'll do various things. So normally I look after my team, make sure I'm supporting them, and then providing them with guidance. Normally throughout the week, we look at campaigns that we've developed. I oversee them. And then again, working quite closely with our PR agency throughout the day and our design agency as well, who look after our website. But yeah, and then the day-to-day can involve working and talking to new partners, talking to other marketing teams. But yeah, like no 2 days are the same. It could be that some days that we're going to a trade show, or we're going to, I don't know, British touring car race. I mean, earlier this month, I flew out to Le Mans. So again, it was a very different 2 days compared to 2 days in the office. So yeah, it really, really varies in marketing, and you get to do a bit of everything, and you know about all the projects in marketing as well.
Wow, that is awesome. That sounds, yeah, really, really cool. So do you think your day-to-day differs a lot when you're at race weekends, for example?
Yeah, so we do an electronics package with IndyCar, who are based in the US. And then again, that would involve going out there for a week, working with our guys in the US, putting a marketing campaign together, and then doing some socials and doing some campaigns throughout the weekend for the race. So it just really depends on what race series is happening and what is happening that weekend and who needs to go where.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when it's race season during summer, it's just so busy.
Yeah, it's no secret that motorsport is very busy. Hanaa, how about you? What's your day-to-day?
So I think the first thing I do when I come in is just check my emails. I think everybody does that first, but the reason why I check my emails is because some of the design jobs that I've sent out, they might be at the manufacturing stage or in build or test. So I just check to see if I've had any, response from them saying that, from manufacturing, for example, saying, can you make a slight change to the design to make it, more easier to manufacture. So if there is a change that I need to make, then that's the first job that I'll do, because it's going to slow down production if I don't do it first. And then just after that, it's just carrying on with my my current project. So it'll be designing an engine part. So I'll just be working on a CAD software, doing that. And then also I have meetings, like design review meetings, to check where I'm at with my designs, and just to check in my progress and if there's any issues with the design, and also customer meetings and that sort of thing, just to make sure we're all on the same page. And I might need to, for whatever design job I'm doing, I might need to go and visit build, engine build, or manufacturing, or whatever it might be, just to get information together for the job that I'm doing. So I guess it's a mixture of doing design work and collaboration as well.
So you sort of touched on there how you obviously have to look at your emails and see what's come in, and how that might slow down the production if you if you don't prioritize those. So do you feel like that's a skill that you really needed for the job, is sort of time management and being able to prioritize things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to be really organized. You have to be on top of a job as soon as you're given it, because otherwise it's if you leave it late, you're going to be behind schedule, and it's going to be stressful, and people are going to be after you, and ultimately you're delaying the project, and that costs money at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Veronica, how about you? What's your day-to-day look like?
Yeah, well, it all depends on the projects that are going on at the moment. So, for example, in simulation, you will work along many different departments. So, for example, design would get how the packs are going to be distributed. Then you get to model each of the cells or the entire pack. Work closely with testing. You get the test data and compare it to correlations of the results. And then on the control side, you get to develop tools, develop our control systems to actually get it into a vehicle. You get to see how the actuators and sensors all work together to control the entire pack and keep it healthy, get the most out of it, because we want performance.
Perfect. It's awesome to see how passionate everyone is about everything they're doing every day. Pauline, how about you?
So yeah, as Hanaa said, checking the emails is the first thing. Then, for example, today I had the design review meeting for the CAD project. So we're putting it in a customer vehicle, and I need to finish the report. So I needed make sure that the installation has been complete with the designers, review everything, getting some screenshots to put in the report. So I need to complete that. And then after that, I had a design review for a prototype battery module we're making. So we had a review with all the different teams, making sure that the people who are going to build the modules know what's going on and are happy with the process. But also had Veronica was not in that meeting specifically, but people from her team were there, just making sure that for example, the sensors we're going to put in the battery are in the right place so that she has the right data to analyze. So Veronica worked on my project previously, and so she did all the modeling, but then she wants the data then to analyze and confirm that her model has been correct and do all that correlation. And then in the afternoon, we had an emergency with one of the other project we're doing with the pack we're testing. So I spent some time with the test engineers trying to fix that. And in between breaks, I was doing a finance forecast. So it's just jumping between all the different projects and all the different activities all together. And that was just today, and every day is different. And that's what's exciting. But as Minnie said, because we're working across multiple projects, no 2 days are the same. And actually it's really exciting. There's a lot of unexpected. So time management, as Hanaa said, is quite important. So, I need to finish some reports for tomorrow. And at some point I'll need to find the time to do them.
I mean, it's just so clear to see how excited everybody is about their work. So I guess something that would be nice is sort of, what part of your job do you find the most rewarding? So Minnie, we'll come back to you.
I think for me is actually experiencing the races, and in particular, Le Mans is so well known, and again Indy 500 in Indianapolis, and also just promoting Cosworth and what it's known for and its history. Like every time I've always said, I work at Cosworth, everyone's like, oh, Cosy, like Ford back, and I'm like, no, it's not Ford anymore. But it's the brand, and then also just developing and the marketing strategies as well, and knowing that we're promoting such a well-known historic brand, I think is probably the most rewarding part for me. Yeah. And then obviously everybody else that I work with as well, because everyone's so passionate.
Yeah, you're so right that it's definitely a brand that, its history is amazing. So that's really awesome to hear. Veronica, how about you?
Well, for me, I would say you're surrounded with a bunch of people who are very passionate, who love what they're doing. You get to learn a lot. For me, that's the most important thing. I'm never bored, and I'm always learning something new, which I get to apply to everything I do, pretty much. I've always loved like mathematics, software, that sort of stuff. That's why I'm in controls, and I get to do that every day, which is something that it's so nice to say, so nice to to also, if any new people come in, you get to share that with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Hanaa, I'm sure you'll echo probably similar things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, I would say as well, just coming to the end of a project and, you know, looking back at you know, what we've achieved collectively. And, you know, I mentioned the Valkyrie before, and a project like that takes, you know, about 3 years from feasibility study all the way to start of production. And then it goes through, you know, durability tests and endurance tests, and you know, all the parts we design go through that as well. So you know, just looking back on it, and you know, it just feels like your hard work has been paid off. And with that project, it was, with that car, it was it actually was on the recently it was on Top Gear, and it was given really good reviews, and that's to show that you know, I've grown up watching, and that was just, you know, watching that was just you know, a really proud moment for Cosworth, I think.
That's really, really cool. Pauline, obviously you're a project manager, so kind of something that Hanaa touched on there, where you see a project like the Valkyrie that takes, you know, 3 years. And as a project manager, seeing that, do you feel a great sense of pride, I guess, coming through and seeing those projects come together?
Yeah, and as Hanaa said, that's probably the best thing, is that you start from a blank sheet of paper. We're developing brand new technology with some unknown, and just going through that with all the teams. And then when it comes together at the end, it's really a big achievement for everyone. Not really for me, maybe, because I'm not actually doing the work. So it's mainly the teams actually doing everything. But it's really great. And something I enjoy is that things happen, we have problems, but everybody is working towards the same goal. And when times are hard, we still come together, and everybody's helping each other to make sure that the project can be delivered. And actually, you just have a really good day, even if there were issues, but you know, knowing that we work together to fix the problem, and eventually we managed to get to the end. It's really nice, and it shows how good Cosworth, you know, how good a place to be it is. So yeah, that's good.
And obviously, ladies, we're here tonight with Girls on Track, so we have to talk, of course, about being women working in motorsport. So do you think that that's something that you've really noticed? And in your day-to-day role, what are some of the challenges you've maybe faced coming in as a woman working in motorsport? Hanaa, we'll start with you this time.
I think, I mean, yeah, I guess, you know, it still is a male-dominated field, motorsport and engineering in general. And I guess, yeah, being a minority as a female does have its challenges, especially when I first started off my career. I mean, I'm quite a shy person in general, and so, you know, for example, if you're in a big meeting room with all males, it can be a little bit intimidating. And but I think, you know, that's just something you've got to get used to, and actually you'll find that, you know, most people are really friendly and accommodating because you are a minority. And I think you know, you just need to be yourself, you know, don't change who you are, and you know, just be confident but not overly confident, and it's not really a challenge at the end of the day, I think.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Minnie?
Yeah, I mean, exactly what Hanaa said. You know, it is difficult, but don't let it drop your confidence. It is a challenging industry, but I go back to the Girls on Track event that we did last week. It was so inspiring, and it just filled my heart with joy. And one of the children at the end of it actually said, "Girls can do anything," and it was just so nice to hear, and it was just amazing. So, you know, it might be challenging, but just rise above the challenge and don't let anything knock your confidence. Naturally, yeah, it is challenging because it's such a male-dominated industry, but I think over time we can all make a difference. and especially like the event that we did last week, which is what we're now trying to do more of and get more involved.
Yeah, that's really special and really awesome to hear. Veronica, what advice would you have then for people that want to, for women that want to be working in motorsport?
Yeah, well, I would echo what Hanaa and Minnie said, and yeah, just don't give up. If it's something that you really want, you will see, especially if you're a girl, you're the only woman or one of the few women in your studies, in whatever activity you're in. If it's something that you really want to do, you should stick to it and surround yourself with people who support you, your family, your friends, and people in the community. I would also like to point out, like Minnie said on last week's activity, it was so nice seeing all the girls being so energetic and enjoying themselves with all of the activities that girls on Track UK and Minnie, everyone at Cosworth, were so happy to organize. It was great to be part of that.
How about you, Pauline? Any advice?
It's challenging, but I find that once you prove your worth, people have got a huge amount of respect for women in the industry, because I think they realize how lonely it can be sometimes. But it's so rewarding. And actually, one of the benefits is that we stand out. There are not many of us. People remember my name, and I'm like, when I meet them a few weeks or months later, sometimes I don't even remember theirs. But you know, we stand out, and maybe it puts a bit of pressure on us, but we're worth it. We belong here, and you know, the more events we can do to promote girls being in engineering and STEM and motorsport and automotive, actually the more we are and the more common we make it. So it's just, yeah, if you want to do something, as the other said, just crack on and do it. We just belong everywhere we want to, and the more we are, then the better, and the easier it is for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
Can I just add, I think it should also be known that you don't have to do a STEM related degree to get into motorsports. Like there is other jobs like marketing, accounts, HR, which are involved in motorsports as well, and they're not just STEM subjects. Because I always thought, because I did marketing, I can't get into motorsports because I don't have anything related to engineering. But it's like it was said last week, girls can do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different roles, and I think that's why it's especially nice to have all four of you here tonight, because we can see that there's so many different sides to it. So Pauline, you were kind of talking about us standing out. So one of the things that people want to know is, going for these the roles that you guys have, or similar roles, what would make them stand out when pursuing a career in motorsport?
I think I'll go back to what we said previously, is having, you know, these experiences outside of work, and having the right attitude. If you're passionate, you're willing to learn, and you get along with people, you can't go wrong there. And it just being natural and be yourself.
And Veronica, what about you? What do you think would make people stand out?
I would 100% agree with Pauline, but I would also add the academic side, because that's mostly what I did before entering the motorsport world. Yeah, I got my master's, so getting a work experience, getting some volunteering work, and everything helps, as long as it's something that you like, you enjoy, and are proud to talk about it in the interview, because they also want to hear you talk about things that are related and you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm. Hanaa, how about you?
Yeah, exactly that. What the other girls were saying, it's just, you know, just kind of show that you are human, and like what we were saying before, like, so, you know, put things on your CV like you're a part of a sports club, or you know, you're part of a, you know, you do music or anything like that. That sort of stuff is really helps to make you know, your CV stand out, and of course the other stuff like engineering experience is really important equally as well.
And Minnie, in marketing, would you say it's any different, or what would help in that sense?
I would echo everything the girls have just said. I think, you know, try and get hands-on experience where you can, and like I've said before, keep on top of socials and the industry news, and just keep up to date with it, so you know, when people are talking about it, you can relate to those topics. Reach out to, I don't know, motorsport organizations where maybe they can help offer advice or internships. But yeah, I think expressing your interest and your willingness to do things will make you stand out. And obviously, as like I said before, show passion, because it's a very passion-driven industry.
As we kind of wind down tonight, I think something that's definitely come across from all of you is just how passionate you really are about what you're doing. So what has been your favourite part of working in motorsports so far? Pauline, we'll come back to you.
Test driving cars. I really enjoy that when you can just be in a car and you've worked a long time to get everything working, and it does. So maybe that's the fancy part of it. But I've been test driving from Barcelona back to the UK. I've been test driving in Wales. I've been test driving on test track. Somebody took me at 300 km/h in a McLaren P1. That's the exciting stuff. I guess that's the glamorous side, but it's so great to enjoy the actual product.
Yeah. Hanaa, how about you? What's been your favorite thing so far?
I think for me, so one of the engines that I've been involved with is the GMA T50, which is another V12 engine we currently have in production. And I was fortunate enough to see the GMA T50 prototype car, and just to be able to physically see the car and see our engine inside of it, and to hear it fired up was just, you know, an amazing feeling, an amazing experience. And yeah, just another really proud moment for us at Cosworth. And yeah, I was standing quite close to the car when it was revved, and yeah, it was very loud. My ears were definitely ringing.
Veronica, how about you?
Yeah, well, pretty much the same thing. Seeing what you developed and what you created, like, be something tangible. There's no other feeling like that. Seeing something that you put your heart into being built, working as intended. Because sometimes things go wrong, you have to fix it. But once it's working, that's really nice.
Yeah. And lastly, Minnie, coming to you.
Mine's a little bit different. So I think for me is actually attending the races with obviously the media access. So, you know, with most races we get to go down the pits and the garages as well, and that's probably my most favorite part, because always when I was younger you'd watch it on TV but you'd never imagine yourself physically there. And then also with a lot of our campaigns that we do is just seeing them through and seeing them at the end, and then looking at the analytics and how well it's performed. But yeah, and again, like events like we did last week with Girls on Track, those are the favorite things that I would say.
Mm-hmm. Now that is a wonderful way to end tonight's webinar. So thank you so much, first and foremost, to all of you guys for joining, and to our panelists for giving up their time, being here tonight and sharing their stories. I think, as I've said, it's come across how passionate everyone is about their job, and that's been really special for us. So thank you to all of our participants for attending, and to Girls on Track UK and Motorsport UK for making this event possible. If you have enjoyed our webinar tonight, then don't forget that it will be made available for you to watch back. And if you aren't already a member of the Girls on Track UK community, the community is totally free to join. And we now have over 7,000 members and would love to welcome you to join us. The link to join and to sign up to the mailing list will be going in the chat now. Also, once the webinar has finished, there will be a link to a very quick survey, which we would love for you to complete, as it helps us know what you want to see in the future. So please do take a few moments to complete that once the call has ended. One more final thank you to our panelists for tonight, Girls on Track UK, Motorsport UK, and for all of you for attending. It has been amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to all of you talk. And look out in your mailboxes for news about upcoming events and opportunities, such as the one that the girls have been talking about tonight. So thank you, everyone. It's been wonderful. Have a wonderful rest of your week, wherever you are, and whatever you're doing.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.